Now you guys know this. Dodge says that this Challenger Hellcat produces 700, yes, and 7 horsepower. Of course, that's at the crank, at sea level. So the question is, how much horsepower does it produce at the wheels at a mile above sea level? And that is something we're about to find out right now. You know, there are a bunch of different dynos out there, right?
Sure.
And they all measure differently.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's no one number.
No, never. No.
So which one are we using, and is this a heartbreaker?
This is somewhat of a heartbreaker. I believe it's an eddy current. Most modern eddy current dynos read a little lower than the old inertial dynos. This is from Australia. It's a Dyno Dynamics, and it's about 10 years old, but these are pretty darn consistent. I'm okay with that.
All right, so we're gonna get a couple things, right? We're gonna get the most important thing, which is how much horsepower it's producing at the wheels.
Yeah.
All right, and what's your guess? Come on, give me a kind of a 707.
It's 707. I'm gonna say 620 at the wheels because we're at altitude. I use a fairly low correction factor. With boosted cars at this altitude, we're at 5,000 feet above sea level right now. So we should lose, according to the ideal gas law, we should lose around 30% of power, but because we have a supercharger working for us, we should only lose half of that. So we'll lock the correction at about 15% for this altitude, and we should see, anywhere from 620 to 650, I would say.
All right, I've always had my heart broken, so I'm gonna go low, I'm gonna go 600, but we'll see. And you know, this car does a bunch of different modes, but let's just go right into track mode. Let's just see what that 707 does up here at a mile above sea level. Have the first gauge mode, which is oil temperature, oil pressure, basically the basic gauges. The second gauge mode tells you boost pressure, airflow ratio, coolant, air intake temperature.
Oh, excellent.
Stuff. But the fun one is this one right here. So that one gives you horsepower, torque, and how much boost it's providing.
Oh, nice.
So before we do that, let me go back here. Hold on.
I think though that it'll disagree with my dyno because we're using. I can make it accelerate and take a year to go through one gear.
Yeah.
So it would say, oh, this has no power in that mode. But if we let it ramp up right through in 2 seconds, it would say you got 1,000,000 horsepower.
So we're going to go to drive mode. See, right now it's in eco mode.
Okay.
So let's get it out of eco mode. And you get 2 keys, right? You get a black key and you get a red key. And the black key only lets you go to 500, but the red key lets you go to 700. So we're going to take it out of eco mode.
Have you ever carried the black key around? Do you use that?
No, why?
Yeah. Not as good as we had hoped for.
Yeah.
It actually only made 530 to the wheels with a 15% correction factor. I'm going to lighten the load up a little bit and see if letting it sweep through faster makes a difference.
Yeah, so we're really low.
Yeah, we're really low. I got to recalibrate the RPMs on the next pull as well because what we're doing is we're using wheels to measure RPM, and I still, since it's the very first pull, we calibrate after that.
The curve is good.
And the torque's almost 600, so that's something else.
Yeah, but the power's weak.
It is weaker than we had hoped for.
Yeah. We've dynoed some of our other cars. We dynoed a Mustang, the previous generation, the 6-cylinder. That was supposed to put out like 300. It was well under 200.
Wow.
We've done the Raptor, which is supposed to put out 440, and it was under 300. Yeah, so it's just altitude and horsepower don't mix. They just don't mix. You know, even though you have a supercharger, right? That thing is like the size of my forearm, and you're jamming as much air into those cylinders as you can. Still, you know, there's a lot less air density up here, so you're jamming more in, but you know, those little molecules are farther apart.
Yeah.
And you're just not getting the bang for your buck.
Oh yeah, compressor efficiency is down.
One more pull.
All right, let's see what it does.
All right, let's get it done.
Come on, baby. $551.
It's a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
It's a heartbreaker.
I wanted a lot more, Roman. I really
know.
wanted to see this thing make a lot.
And you know what? I'm standing here running the camera, and I'm like, it's shaking, right? There's so much exhaust coming off the car. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, it is what it is.
As low as it is, it's still not bad. It's a great car.
Well, thank you very much.
As a tuner, my favorite thing to do to any car is put ethanol in it. So I'd make it, you know, we're doing flex fuel on cars now, and it's amazing.
How much more power can you get on ethanol?
Ethanol for a car like this, I would expect it to make about 100 horsepower.
Yeah. What does that do to the warranty?
It probably voids it, but we use modern injectors that are probably better than the factory injector.
Yeah. So. Well, thank you very much for taking the time and breaking my heart yet again.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But that's,
Roman, that's great.
But that's all right, Harvey.
Thanks.
I was prepared for it. As always, guys, check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, heartbreaking dyno reviews. See you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks.
The bigger the wheel, the heavier the wheel, the less power you're putting out at the wheel. How come that is?
Well, it's just like an ice skater. You know, if you put your arms out, it's harder to spin fast. And
so if you get really tiny...
Yes. The same weight wheel with the polar weight in the center will lose less power than a wheel that has a heavy tire or that has all its weight on the outside. There's that inertial rotation you have to overcome.
So we need to get some golf cart wheels.
Yeah, little lightweight wheels, something really light. Right.
I need lighter wheels.
Snow tires will also hurt for a different reason. The energy can actually get out of the squirm when you have blocks that are moving. That energy is being used, consumed by that.
And the other thing we didn't talk about, I know it's a lot of excuses, but it's actually interesting because it's true, right? We're talking about, like, we've got one thing going for us, and that is it's colder. So when it's colder, there's more air density, so you're getting a little bit more horsepower. But those tires are summer tires, and they don't work until they really heat up.